What if I told you the world's largest fast food empire was built by a culinary genius or a teenage prodigy, but by a broke 52-year-old milkshake machine salesman who simply refused to quit? This is the unbelievable story of Ray Kroc and how he turned a small burger stand into a $200 billion global phenomenon, straight from his book, Grinding It Out. Before the Golden Arches, there was just the grind. For decades, Ray Kroc was the definition of an everyday salesman, hustling to make a living. His life was a series of almosts and not. He sold paper cups door to door, played piano in smoky speakeasies during Prohibition, and bounced from one venture to another. By the time he was in his 50s, he had a track record of 17 failed businesses. The world saw a man past his prime, but Ray saw something else. He famously said, "I was 52 years old, I had diabetes, I had arthritis, but I had persistence." While others were planning for retirement, Ray was working 18-hour days. He wasn't just selling, he was learning. Every slammed door, every rejection was a lesson in what customers wanted and what businesses were doing wrong. He was building a mental library of success and failure, one painful sales call at a time. This relentless drive, this refusal to accept defeat, wasn't just a character trait. It was the foundation for everything that came next. He was a man tempered by decades of struggle, unknowingly preparing for the opportunity of a lifetime. Then came the machine that changed everything. It was a brilliant piece of 1950s technology mixer that could whip up 5 milkshakes at once. For a guy who had spent his life selling single paper cups, this was a massive leap. Kroc saw its potential immediately and became its exclusive distributor. He crisscrossed the country, driving from city to city, selling his multi-mixers to diners, soda fountains, and restaurants. This wasn't just a sales job anymore. It was market research on a national scale. He became a road warrior, an opportunity hunter. Visiting hundreds of kitchens, he saw firsthand what worked and what didn't. He learned the secrets of the restaurant trade from the inside out. The importance of speed, the power of high volume, and the critical need for efficient systems. He wasn't just a salesman, he was a student of the American appetite, gathering intelligence that would soon prove priceless. He was connecting the dots, seeing patterns that no one else was paying attention to. One day an order came in that just didn't make sense. A single, tiny restaurant out in the middle of nowhere, San Bernardino. California had ordered not 1, not 2, but 8 of his 8. That meant they were making 40 milkshakes at the same time. Who on earth was selling that many shakes? Kroc was baffled and intensely curious. He thought there must be a mistake. But the orders kept coming, month after month. Finally, he couldn't stand it any longer. He got in his car and drove 2,000 miles across the country to see this anomaly for himself. What he found wasn't just a restaurant. It was a revolution. He pulled up to a small octagon-shaped building with long lines of happy customers. This was the McDonald brothers burger stand. There was no indoor seating, no waitresses, no plates juiced paper wrappers. The menu was radically simple, only 9 items centered around a 15-cent hamburger. And the service, it was lightning fast. They called it the speedy service system, an assembly line for food where an entire order was ready in 30 seconds. Kroc was mesmerized. He saw the genius in its simplicity, the efficiency in its design. It was a factory for producing cheap, consistent, high-quality food at incredible speed. In his own words, looking at that humble stand, he thought, this was my Taj Mahal. He knew, in that instant, that this was the future. Kroc saw more than just a successful burger stand. He saw a nationwide empire. The McDonald brothers, Dick and Mac, were content with their local success. They'd tried franchising before, and it was a headache they didn't want again. But Ray Kroc was a man possessed by a vision. He begged them, pleaded with them, to let him take their system national. He wasn't a rich man. He had to put everything on the line. He mortgaged his house, maxed out his credit cards, and scraped together every penny he could find to secure the franchise rights. The deal was signed. He would pay the brothers a small percentage and a fee of $950 for every new location he opened. With the contract in hand, he immediately got to work building his very first model franchise in Des Plaines, Illinois. It was a perfect replica of the San Bernardino stand, a beacon of the new fast food age. Opening day was a massive success. With crowds lining up to experience the future of dining, Ray Kroc had the name, he had the system, he had the rights to build a coast-to-coast chain. But what he didn't have was money, a corporate team, or any real clue just how hard it would be to control quality and build an empire from scratch. The biggest battles were yet to come. The fight for control, the betrayals, and the innovations that would ultimately create the McDonald's as we know today are all coming in the next chapter. Do you think you have what it takes to grind like Ray Kroc? Ray Kroc, a 52-year-old milkshake machine salesman, snagged the franchising rights to a tiny burger joint called McDonald's. He saw the future, but getting the rights was just the first step. Now came the war. Ray was about to face greedy franchisees, the constant threat of bankruptcy, and brutal competition that wanted to see him fail. How he won this war and built a global empire is absolutely insane. Ray Kroc was obsessed, and I mean obsessed, with quality and consistency. His vision was simple but revolutionary. A McDonald's hamburger and fries had to taste exactly the same in Maine as they did in California. This was non-negotiable. To achieve this, he created a system that was pure genius. He developed a pre-made powdered formula for milkshakes and a precise potato formula that was shipped to every single franchise across the country. There were no exceptions. This guaranteed that every customer, no matter where they were, experienced the exact same taste, the exact same quality. But it didn't stop there. Ray knew that the system was only as strong as the people running it. So he established Hamburger University, a state-of-the-art training facility dedicated to teaching the McDonald's method. Franchisees and managers were drilled on every single aspect of the operation, from the precise thickness of the pickles to the exact temperature of the frying oil. It was a military-style operation focused on one thing: perfection. Kroc's mantra was clear: deliver perfection or face bankruptcy. He built a team of quality control inspectors, his freaks, as he called them, who would pop into restaurants unannounced to ensure every single rule was being followed to the letter. This wasn't just about business. For Ray, it was a crusade. While Ray was fighting for perfection, a civil war was brewing within his own empire. The very people he had trusted with his brand, the franchisees, were starting to rebel to save a few pennies. Some of them started cutting corners. They'd use cheaper ingredients, change the sacred recipes, and let service standards slip. Every time a customer got a bad burger or soggy fries, it wasn't just a bad meal, it was a direct attack on the McDonald's name. The brand Ray was bleeding for. Ray Kroc was furious. He saw this as a personal betrayal. He had given these people a golden opportunity, and they were squandering it. He wasn't having any of it. He declared war on the bad apples. He famously said, "I'd rather have no restaurant at all than a bad McDonald's." And he meant it. He began a ruthless purge, firing nearly 20% of his franchises anyone who refused to follow the system. This led to a storm of angry meetings, shouting matches, and expensive lawsuits. Franchisees who once saw him as a partner now saw him as a dictator. But Ray didn't care. He was protecting his baby, and he would crush anyone who threatened it. The message was sent loud and clear: you either follow the McDonald's way, or you get out. As if the franchisee wars weren't enough, Ray was drowning in a financial hell. The company was hemorrhaging money. He was over $350,000 in debt, a colossal sum in the 1950s. Checks were bouncing left and right. Suppliers were calling day and night, demanding payment for tons of potatoes and ground beef. The banks were closing their doors on him, seeing him as too big of a risk. And to top it all off, the McDonald brothers themselves were breathing down his neck, demanding their royalty payments on time. Every time, with no sympathy for his struggles, Ray was trapped. He was building a national brand, but was personally going broke. He needed a miracle. And that miracle came from a brilliant idea. Vertical integration. Instead of just franchising restaurants, why not own the entire supply chain? Kroc's company started buying the farms that grew the potatoes, the ranches that raised the cattle, and the bakeries that made the buns. It was a massive gamble, but it paid off. He was no longer just in the burger business. He was in the real estate and supply business. This move not only slashed his costs, but gave him almost total control over his empire's quality and destiny. The financial stress was immense, but out of that pressure, the foundations of a true corporate giant were forged. With the franchisees in line and the finances stabilized, the McDonald's empire didn't just grow, it exploded. The map of America started filling up with those iconic golden arches. 1,000 stores became 10,000, then 100,000 worldwide. The brand went global, bringing American fast food to Tokyo, London, and Moscow. Ray's team kept innovating, introducing the drive-thru to cater to a nation on the move, and creating the Happy Meal, which made McDonald's a family destination. Ray Kroc, the struggling salesman, had done it. He turned his initial $1.5 million investment into a personal fortune of over $500 million. He even bought the San Diego Padres baseball team just because he could. He wasn't just a businessman anymore. He was an American icon. But this incredible success came at a staggering personal cost. The relentless drive, the sleepless nights, and the constant stress took a brutal toll on Ray. His obsession with the business left little room for anything else. He went through 3 failed marriages, his personal relationships crumbling under the weight of his ambition. His health collapsed. He was the king of a global empire, but often found himself alone at the top. As he himself admitted, success costs everything. He had achieved his wildest dreams, but the price was a piece of his own soul. It is a somber reminder that the journey to the top is often a lonely and sacrificial one. Looking back at Ray Kroc's incredible journey, there are 5 powerful lessons for any entrepreneur. First, it's never too late to start. He was 52. Second, a brilliant system is more powerful than individual talent. Third, be absolutely obsessed with quality. It's your best marketing. Fourth, don't be afraid to fire bad partners who threaten your brand. And finally, be prepared to sacrifice. True success demands everything. What's your number 1 lesson from Ray Kroc's story? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more insane entrepreneur stories. Thanks for watching.